Hello, and welcome to the BYU Family History Library webinar series. We're glad you could join us today. I'm Anna Summers, and I'll be your host for this webinar. If you have technical difficulties during the webinar, please use the chat box and I can address your concerns. You are welcome to use the chat box during the webinar for comments, insights, and questions. However, all questions will be addressed at the end of the presentation. Our next webinar will be on April 21st, BYU script tutorials with Amy Stoddard. If you would like to access a previous webinar, please visit our webinar index on our website or search on our YouTube channel. All of our webinars are recorded and uploaded by the following week for your convenience. We also post links to recordings and other updates on our Facebook and Twitter accounts. For today's webinar, we are pleased to hear from Annette Adams, who will be giving a presentation on virtual libraries, where to find key genealogical library collections and how to access them. As a native German from Hamburg, Annette takes immense interest in German genealogy, emigration, and consulting others in discovering their German heritage. Currently, Annette is a genealogy student at Brigham Young University, Idaho, working toward a BS in professional studies with an emphasis on family history and social media marketing. Annette works part-time as a research reference consultant with the German Slavic research team at the Family History Library. And Annette, if you're ready, I'll turn the time over to you.
All right. And I am sharing my screen now. Can you all see it? Can you see it, Anna?
Yes, it looks great.
Wonderful. Okay, so virtual libraries, where to find key genealogical library collections. So the first thing we're going to go to, we only have 7 slides, and then I will switch over to, there we go, switch over to the online so I can show you what's available. So usually we start off with a genealogical problem, and in this slide, I'm just showing you an address book that I had. It had an entry for a surname that was related to my own. Up here in the top left-hand corner was Mr. Oscar Halter, and then over here was this Johannes Halter, and this was all news to me. And I ran into this issue of doing my research and not knowing where to get more information. So I considered what my options were, which is one of the fun reasons why we use so many different digital archives and digital libraries as well as databases. And today I want to show you what those are so that you can do research in a wide variety of areas and on different topics. Since I specialized in German research, most of my stuff is heavily emphasis is on those German things. So one of the things we want to focus on when we're searching online is a person, place, or subject. We want to look for historical information. We want to understand the context. We want to find the micro within the macro. We want to be looking for biographies and family histories. And we want to search by subject, such as military, occupation, pandemics, disasters, newspapers, maps, gazetteers, and inventions. And many of these things can be found online. And if we can find a story, we might be able to find either our ancestor within that story or someone related to them through cluster research. So virtual library types that we have, there are a myriad of resources online available to you. Some of these are paid for, some of them are subscriptions, and others are free. And I have a dear friend who always says, if it's cheap, great. If it's free, even better. So when it comes to these virtual library types, we want to look for genealogy societies within the area that we're researching. So locality is very important. We want to check for historical societies. These are awesome because they may have in-house collections or catalogs that allow us to search their library to see what's available, and not everything that is online is available online. Some things are only available at the actual building or site, and we can use these online libraries to figure out what's available. We also have local public libraries that are excellent resources. There is no substitute for local knowledge. And you always want to find out who has like a private collection within your area or who would know something at a public library. Then we have national archives or libraries. And then we have university and college campus libraries that offer their collections and their information online. So with online genealogical databases, some of the sites that we use to do our research also include libraries, our virtual libraries or books, virtual books. These would include the Ancestry, Family Search, Find My Past. And Find My Past, for example, has an excellent connection to the Allen County Library and their collections, which are pretty awesome. And then there's My Heritage and Find a Grave. Then we also have GenWeb organizations for the world, US, and Canada, and these are broken down into country, state, and county. And these projects can be really awesome to access because you may be able to search online and find connections that are available to you to get more information as a physical repository. Then, of course, when it comes to your research, you want to check on the different websites that I'm going to show you today for things like collection types. Again, this would be things like the subjects we talked about earlier in the previous page, where I talked about, person, place, or subject. You want to look for words like Digi or Digi, especially if it's foreign language, Biblio. You also want to look for cool help sources like Ask a Librarian, Finding Aids, and the Virtual Reading Room. These are all excellent resources that you can find online at your virtual libraries. I'm just providing a list here of some of the different sites, and then in a moment I'll close out of this. Some of the resources to choose from are, for example, the Center for Jewish History. If you're helping people with Jewish research, this is an excellent online library that's free and easily accessible. If you are looking for copyrighted information, there's actually on copyright.gov. If it's been copyrighted, you can look for information. I was speaking earlier with someone today who has a copyrighted family history that he created, and you can only find it at the copyright.gov site, and you would go to the research and search the public catalog. So this could be really useful for bibliographies and family histories. Then there's the Family Search Digital Library, which has over 500,000 free genealogy books, family histories, maps, yearbooks, and more. And with that, you'll find the Family Search Digital Library partners. Then there's the Internet Archive. I selected the American libraries, and all of these things I will show you shortly. So hold your horses, and sorry, I'm reading off the list to you, but I want you to see this so that you can either take a screenshot of it or you can write it down or later look it up. Then there are Google Books, which is internet only. And then we have National Archives, and then we have the Library of Congress digital collections, the New York Public Library digital collections, the Wayback Machine, and then the Hathi Trust. These are all excellent resources that are available here and that are predominantly for US, but come also in foreign language. So always use different options when you're searching. Use different keywords, even in different languages for different areas that you are searching within. So one of the other areas I wanted to cover for Europe was the National Library of Scotland. They actually provide an amazing map of the trenches during World War I in France. So if you had someone that served there, was a POW or anything along that line, you can look that up. Then there are the National Archives of England. The Cambridge Digital Library is a college or university library. There's the National Library of Ireland. The Digital Libraries of Europe includes a very lengthy list that we'll go over. Then we have the National Archives. We have the National Library of the Netherlands, and then the Public Domain Review and World Digital Library. And so in conclusion to the slides, I wanted to show that when I started off with my original genealogical problem of needing to learn more about these people who came from Dresden, Germany, I was actually able to find an online site that has digital collections that's specifically for the Dresden, Saxony area. So you have loads of options, which is really cool. And so we are going to close that for the moment, and then we will go over to make sure we save, right? So now we will open up the site where I can show you everything that I have. Move that over. All right. So back in 2003, there was a push from the National Library of Netherlands and the Library of Congress to work together to start archiving, digitally archiving materials for future generations. And I found this article fascinating. They came up with some different sites. She explains all the different ways that we've made scanning possible and using different types of software to make our searches easier, like OCR, and being able to search fonts in different languages for newspaper scripts, and then also some handwriting, and that's still being done by artificial intelligence. And I thought I'd share that. There's some fun sites, like this is a German specific site, and I wanted to show it to you because I wanted to show you if I were looking up information, I can first of all change this into English if I am in Google Chrome, and then I can see what's available, and I can see the different types of search methods. And then I can go through this, and in one of these cases, there was a digital library that made it a little bit easier, but it's a little bit difficult. I think it was here in the meta search. So you always want to make sure you use the meta search if you see it. And in this case, we have the DigiBib, and this is a great resource for any kind of German research. And you're basically searching various German libraries that have made their information available. So I just wanted to show you that that's one way to do research on a site that's specifically for genealogy. So we're going to start here at the beginning and go through this. So here we go. So this site particularly is the Directory of National Libraries. I thought this was absolutely amazing because here we have an alphabet, and you can look up alphabetically all of the different online libraries that are available from Albania through Armenia and so on. You can see all of the different countries that have something available for you to do your research. I'm going a little fast. So I talked briefly about the Library of Ireland, thought I would show that briefly. So if I click on it, it's going to take me straight to the site itself. I can scroll down, and then I can see all of the different information here. It's not providing what I'd hoped. It should give you the option to search by digital information, member libraries. You can click on member libraries and it brings us back to the original page. But for example, if I go to the Austria National Bibliothek, I can come down to the site. I had it earlier. It's not letting me click on it. Let me go to the home page. Here we go. This is the home page. So you'd have to click on the home page. They give you an introduction and they give you information on the library, and then you can go explore it and discover what's involved. And these are all the different organizations that are working on it. The BNF is the National French Archive or Library, and it is phenomenal. You can look up all sorts of different topics. One of the things that I enjoyed doing was looking up Huguenots, and there were some stories there. Here is the Austria Nationalbibliothek, and I can search by changing it into English. Let's see if it changes it. Didn't on this one, but I can do the UNB Digital. So digital is a fun word to look up. I have to wait for it. And then I have to agree to their circumstances, their requirements. And now I can look through this. But if I say I want to look up Genealogy and I'm going to search by language, I can look up, these are all the different topics that will come on. And if I do Stammbaum, for example, it will now pull up a wide variety of different pieces of information that can be searched. So if you know something specific and you're looking for it, this is one of the ways to do it. You can search through filters, and every one of these sites is going to offer you something similar, but a little bit different in how they've formatted it. Another great site to go to is the Library of Congress and their World Digital Library. And they have these great tiles that show you more resources or captures, and you can click on them. There's a summary there that tells you all about it. It's hosted and operated by UNESCO. So it's not as much, it's more about historical context and less about genealogy, but it's still a great resource. The Library of Congress is searchable. So if you wanted to do Chronicling America, which is a collection you would be very interested in looking at because it includes many different newspapers in the United States. And here we have Chronicling America, which will provide all of these different newspapers and different articles on the subject You can see all of the formats that are available down here in the bottom left hand corner. If I go to PDF, I just randomly clicked on it. It's going to show me the PDF format. I can go back, and here I can see the original format and how it's been put together. There's classroom information, there's periodicals, there's all sorts of information. You can filter out through date. You can filter by location. You can do part of. There are just multiple ways to research information if you're looking for specific details. So one more place to go. Planets was something that was started a while back. This was the original story that made all of these different libraries come together to create a digitization of their records collections so that we could easily search them today. Then we have the digital preservation pioneers. This is all on Library of Congress. If you were to do a basic search to say digital library and then Library of Congress, you're going to get different formats. Earlier, when I presented my genealogical problem, I had gone to find a website for German records in the Saxony area. And this was one of those sites that I found, and I was able to search through it. And I was able to go to all fields. I could search by topic. I can search by relevance, ascending. I have multiple pages. I have 101 entries. And then over here, I had typed in the word Genealogy. Maybe if I wanted to, I could do Erste Weltkrieg, just by way of example. Don't worry, I'll be showing you some other things as well. There's nothing here, but there are plenty of other sources. Oh, it wasn't supposed to go and it did. Just a second. Again, it's giving that in metadata. So let's do genealogy again, only I'll spell it the German way. And then we get all of those different sources that came up, and you can search by place name, by date. Again, these are all the same kinds of search types that you would have on each individual site. So familiarize yourself with the area that you're looking at so that you know what to look for. These are the different collections, and it's the same in every one, and then they list it out. Then we have the Library of Congress with their World Digital Library. They're showing us all the different collection types here in these tiles that you can click on individually. But what's really interesting on this particular page are their expert resources. You don't just want to access the digital libraries for the collection itself, but for the actual availability of expert resources like Ask a Librarian, the general collections, the main reading room. If you're doing Hispanic research, there's a reading room and specifically an Ask a Librarian Hispanic reading room librarian. And you have all of these different sources to help you with your research needs, even geography and Ask a Librarian, even geography and map, which is really cool. And then of course you have the Library of Congress. And this is just one of those great features that enables you to get more out of the digital library itself. They say that you can search in multiple languages, so make sure when you're doing your research, you're not just searching in English. You want to search use Google Translate to translate the words, the keywords that you want into those foreign languages that you're looking for information. We even see a list here of Spanish, Portuguese, French, Arabic, Russian, and Chinese. So there is a lot of information available for you to use. The main reading room for this particular site is really amazing because you can go to it and you can see what the references are, local history and genealogy reference services. If I click on that, it's going to pull up collections and searching tips. And here are the digital collections right here for the local history and genealogy reference services of the Library of Congress. And under digital collections, I've got 19th century California, the upper Midwest from 1820, Chesapeake Bay, and so forth. So you have a lot of different resources available to you. So drill down deeper into it. Don't just stick to the surface page. Then I have the public domain review. This site's amazing. At first, when I looked at it, I was like, where is everything? Well, this is what's amazing. When you scroll down, It was created by the Dutch National Archives. And if I keep scrolling, I get this list. Now, here's what was crazy. As I was preparing this presentation, you know how we genealogists are, we get down a rabbit hole. I was like, oh, look at them. They're all listed here. So that's one of the reasons why I didn't create a handout, because these things are already here and already available to you. Towards the end, I'll make sure I put this link. Maybe I can do that right now in the chat box. Let's see if I can put it there. Everyone, I'll make sure you have it. Boom, there it is. And this is incredible. It's alphabetical. It's in the language of the place that it's from, but you have the British Library, all of those things that I kind of briefly hinted on at the very beginning. They're here as well. So Slob was one of them. And, you've got Heidelberg, and you have everything you can possibly imagine. I want to see if I can see the French one. So if I wanted to, I could do Control F, so CF, and I can do French, like French. So I can do France. And there we go. There's the Bibliothèque Nationale de France. And if I go to it, it gives me this overview page from still on the public domain. And I have to scroll down, and then I can see some of their highlighted collections, and then click on the website. And here's where it gets kind of fun. I'm going to show you this. It's Gallica. And then, of course, it's all in French, but I can change it into English. And then I can see the actual page in English. I'm going to accept the cookies. And then if I want, here where it says research, I have the option of advanced search, and then all of Gallica, and then to research. You also have our selections. They're going to show you discover documents selected and grouped by us. Then you have types of documents. Quick warning, when it says cards, it means maps, but you have manuscripts, objects, books. You have topics, geographic areas, and then there's the blog. So let's say I want to look up Huguenots. Then I'm going to get suggested authors, and then down here, suggested documents. And then I can look through this and see, oh, here we go, Massacre of the Huguenots in Paris. And then I wait. And now I'm looking at my search, the results, the consultation over here on the left-hand side. I can see what language it's in, type of access, it's free. And then I can see the actual article, and then there will be more information here. I can look at it in this format. And I'm showing you this because you will see this on other sites as well. It's just like a brief overview. And then when you go to click on it, you can actually see the image. And if you want, you can download it. Now you can use this for genealogical research too. This is kind of a broad overview of what's available for you. So get creative. I'm still waiting for it to pull it up. And then it shows me that it's from the Bibliothèque Bordeaux. And then I can probably click on it and see the image. There we go. And I get an entire history. And it would probably be that way for other things as well. So just one other resource. So here we have the Staatsbibliothek zu Berlin. This is also great. If I'm looking, I can either look up under research, or I can go to collections. You always want to look for collections. And under collections, I have digitized collections. And when I go into it, I can see all the collections that are available. Of course, these are in German, but I can switch it to English. And now I get a long list, and I can activate or deactivate the list. Let's say I only want to focus on World War I. Unclick that. I just want that one. I just click on it itself. And now it's going to show me newspapers that are all digitized and available online. And then over here on this, on the left-hand side, we can see that there are 8,146 search results just for World War I. And we can see all the different types of information. If I wanted to look up maps, because I was looking up someone from, the casualty lists, I can now see, for example, this particular map, but this isn't World War I, it's 1870, and it's made from a French woodcut. And up here I have the overview, the image, the full text, scan, page, turn, and these are probably searchable I'm looking for the searchable feature. I'm not seeing it right now. You can turn it into a PDF. You can use a toolbox. You have different options. So this is just one way of looking at information, and I can even enlarge it and make it bigger, smaller, and I can even download this. So that's just another way to search for information. Then we have another site that I pulled up that I thought was really cool. That was the first one that I talked about. It was the Center for Jewish History. So if you're helping someone who needs help with their Jewish research, this is a great place to look up. And then we have these different quick links that will take you to different places. And of course, you have here again, the A through Z databases, and then you have Ask a Librarian. If I click on the A through Z database, I'm going to see an alphabetized list. I can search by subject. I can search by databases, types, vendors, right? JSTOR is actually one of our online digital libraries that we can use, but many of these probably have access to that. And then you can search the databases for very specific things if you're looking for. One of them is actually my favorite one right here, Errolson Archives. Here you have Chicago Tribune. So you have a lot of really great resources just for this one site alone for that kind of research. Then on Family Search, if you go to the search feature here, you can click on search, pull up books, which is separate from the Family Search catalog. And again, these have similar search features or look similar. You can either search by keyword or you can do an advanced search. And when you do the advanced search, it's going to pull up by keyword. And then you can do and, or not, any one of these, and it'll exclude or include whatever you're telling it to do. You have subject and author, and then you can add an element. You have view search tips and some great resources there. And so I thought I would show you real quick. Let's say we're looking up Indiana. It'll populate the information for you. And then if I just go to Indiana, I actually gave a class on Family Search on this. You can look it up, but it's going to pull up this many results. I can see by relevancy. I can look at it in a listed view or a grid view, which is very similar to some of the other sites. They all have very similar platforms. These, of course, are maps. But let's say I wanted to look for someone in Indiana. See what comes up. And this is where it gets fun when you're doing genealogical research. We have here from 1641 through 1988, this particular Asbel connection. There are 3,246 search results. I can look here to see the information about it. It's at a public level. I'm not signed in. Over here on the left-hand side, I can see who the creator is. You can see all the different creators of it. This might make it useful if you're trying to track something down because you want a physical copy. You can see the subject and where it's been put. So it's searched by those subjects and the numbers correlate with the collections. You can see languages. We can see how many languages. It looks like on Asbel, there are 3 Norwegian and 3 Danish and 4 German and 7 German. So you'd have to look at them to see what they are. And then you have owning institution. These are all the different online libraries. A few of these are actual public, are partnering libraries with Family Search. For example, Houston Public Library and Allen County in the Midwest. And there, of course, is the Internet Archive. And you can see the relevancy of that. And then you can also see the access level between public, protected, full permission, and limited permission. You do have to be logged in. We're going to go ahead and take a look here at the book. So Asbel connections, there are 276 images. You have these tools up here to help you look at your pages. You can actually forward the page by clicking on the arrows, but the really cool search feature is one, if I want, I can put it on flipping so I can see the pages, or I can go to the magnifying glass here in the top right corner, click on it, and let's say I'm looking for the name Adams, just to see if it comes up. Okay, great. So it has just searched in seconds, 276 pages for the name Adams. And I can scroll through these so that I can view. It'll tell me what page it's on. It'll show it. And then if I want to, I can say, I want to go look at Annette Adams. It'll take me straight to the page and it will show me the information I'm looking for. In this case, it's not highlighted, but in some cases it is highlighted. I'd have to like enlarge this to see what I'm looking at. And that's just one of the quick ways that you can quickly go through information to see, does this book have information on the area, the place, or the subject that I'm trying to find? The other search features allow you to download it and to share what you found. So that was the Family Search digital books. And I'm going to go out of that really quickly again, because I did want to focus briefly on the, okay, it's not going to let me do it. So I'm going to go back to the books because I wanted to show you the digital library partners. If any of you have a family history and you would like to waive any kind of copyright on it and you've written it yourself, you can actually submit it and have it scanned and make it searchable and online. By clicking on the digital library partners, there are about 12 to 13 of them. They're alphabetically listed with these tiles. Each of these library partners offers unique collections specific to the area that they're located in, which is really amazing and wonderful. Some of them are free, some of them are not. Like the Historical Society of Pennsylvania offers a membership for their digital collections. And they also have a find feature, which is really cool. The Midwest Genealogy Center was something we saw mentioned earlier in that other book, but you can see, and I know that they are in process of bringing online a library in London, England, and one in Sweden, but because of COVID, things have been slowed down a little bit. And the hope is to actually bring on more genealogical libraries and historical society libraries that have books outside of the public domain that they're willing to allow to be scanned and uploaded so that they can continue to be viewable and searchable and found and online and available. So just want you to know that each of these are a tile and you can click on them. If I click on the Midwest Genealogy, it's going to take me to that site within Family Search. So next thing that we go to, this was really cool. This is the Internet Archive. I'm sure if some of you are familiar with it already. Internet Archive offers a wide variety. I clicked on American libraries just because I wanted only American libraries. I'm going to go back for just a second because on this particular page, we get all of these amazing results. You can search by collections and the media type, texts, images, and so forth. But what's really cool is we actually have one just for genealogy. So if I click on, I'm not going to click on it just yet, but as you can see, all of these are all the digital libraries that are available that are online. And there are quite a few. Look, there we are, Brigham Young University. So here's like the San Francisco Public Library. I was there earlier today, just taking a look to see what they had. It will show me the books that are available. You can see them in a book format and you can search them. In this case, it only gave me information on topics and subjects, and I can click on more and see what else is there. And if I wanted to, I'm curious to see if it allows me to do this. It doesn't, unfortunately, but you can apply your filters and you can search by filter, which is pretty cool. So that's one of the options that you have to look for information. And then down here, I actually had 42,000 listings for just genealogy alone. And if I click on genealogy, now it's going to show up all the books that are available online just for genealogy, and you'd have to search through them and narrow down what it is you're looking for. Okay, so there's that. Now we're going to go to this one. This is the National Archives. I pulled them up because they are a really useful resource for getting more information. Sometimes there are databases within it and collections within it that you want to access, just so that you know. So what else do we have? We have the digital collections on the Library of Congress. This is just another great resource. Some of it is genealogical, but a lot of it's not, but it might be useful for you to put your person on a map and learn more about the area. And it's a great resource. And there are newspapers that you can look up for obituaries and histories and random stories that you're looking for. Then we also have the digital collections at the New York Public Library. I'm going to go back for just a second so that I'm on the actual page. Here it is. The digital collections, you have, a large variety to search from if you're looking for people in New York. And you could probably search by genealogy. Oops, not in German. And that's what it pulled up. And it just has miscellaneous notes and papers. You can search by topic, apartment houses, elevated railroads, building structures, buildings. You can search by name. You can search by collection. You can search by place, genre, clippings, postcards, floor plans, publishers, division, type, and so forth. So you have lots of different options to conduct your research. And if you're looking specifically in New York. Then we have digital resources for the Library of Scotland. This is a great site. A colleague at the Family History Library was showing me the great maps, Jan Poffenberger, and it was really cool to see how the maps were set up. I think you would go to the digital gallery and you can see what's available. Let's say I want to do World War I maps to see what comes up. Here we go. This was it. Yep, that was it. So these are the trench maps alone. And so if you have an ancestor that was, serving at that time, they have some great maps. They're zoomable. These are all online and available. And if you're working with other records, like, census records or military records, and you're looking for something specific, this is just one of the great ways to find that. And I thought I'd show that to you. Then we have, this was just on family history. Can't remember how I got there, but it's also in the National Library. Oh, there it was. It was on the tiles. I just needed to scroll down. Remember to scroll down. It was just on family history alone. So if you have people that you're helping with Scottish research, this is a great resource for them to be able to know where to go. Map images, histories of Scottish families, and it just keeps going. It's just really quite phenomenal. Then we have another site. This was really cool. This was the National Archives of England. And I was just messing around with it to see what I could find. I started off with the homepage, and then I asked for help with research. Again, utilize those other search tools, research tools. And I found a guide. So there are actually people that create guides, and this shows you the contents, why use the guide, what we hold, online records, passenger lists, and so forth. But what's really cool about this particular page is that they go into more details about immigrants leaving from England. And then they take us already to where we are. And then they go to Canada. So here's the Library and Archives of Canada. Then you have Australia, New Zealand, and South Africa. So you can leverage so many different tools in your research needs, depending on what your objective is and what problem you've run into. And then, of course, we have a listing here for the Society of Genealogists and the Family Search. And if you click on any one of these, for example, the Society of Genealogists, it'll take us straight to the site. If we're lucky, in this case, it didn't. All right, so one more site to go. That is a Corgi. This is a college, University College digital library for Cambridge. They offer some great maps. So if you're, in need of maps, you've got some great resources here. I think you can create your own library. You can do search, you can browse, you can do the home, and you can scroll through it and see what's available for you to look at online and what may not be online. It's a great resource as well. Here, if we go to About, introducing the Cambridge Digital Library, it's going to give you a history of and information on the library, who they're collaborating with, and what kind of information is available on it. So you have a lot to work with. Some of it, again, is not genealogically related, but may be historically useful for your research needs. Then we have the Ireland digital site. They show us the web archive, Born Digital, digitization partnerships, and e-resources. They're still in progress and making some really great resources. They have the European Digital Library Project, where they're collaborating and working together with each other to create more resources for us to search. Then we have the National Archive from the Netherlands. Their site's a really interesting because I wasn't able to find quite what I wanted, but this is definitely something you can look up. Let's say I want to look up digital archives. Oops, digital archives. Digital. Let's just do digital, see what we get. Boop. And it's going to give me a list for various things. And you can probably change it into English if you're in Google. Yep, there you go. So now you can look up photo collection, maps, indexes, research guides, research, and so forth. So you want to make sure you leverage them. They're all a little bit different. And I'm just showing you all the different types so that you know what to expect. So we have another site. I think I showed this to you guys earlier. And then here was that amazing list with all of the different libraries around the world for you to get online to look up. Let's see. Yeah, I think this was pretty inclusive. I was hoping to do the French one, but oh yeah, I did. That we don't need, because I was doing some research there. This is a really cool thing too. So I didn't talk really much about this, but if you are interested in a library membership with a local university, they have like Friends of the Library. I have, because I'm a student, I have access to a couple of different libraries, campus libraries that have research materials available online. And I'm sharing this mainly because the tools that are available for this are you can read books online that have been digitized. I was reading one on genealogy, on DNA and genealogy, and then you have access to the JSTOR, and then you have access to reference books, and you would search the entire library database for information. I don't know if it's going to work at the moment. Indiana, let's see if I can pull it up. Okay, so I can look up just by putting Indian up. I can do, oh, there's a Civil War research database. And this is just accessible through BYU Idaho's library. And I don't know if it's going to give me access right now because I'm not logged in at the moment, but I think you get the idea that there are other resources available. Let's say Mormon pioneers. Well, maybe, oh, as you can see, it'll start populating whatever's there and you can start scrolling through it. So you can search it by subject and topic. And you also have on the homepage the ability to ask a librarian, can begin your research, your library databases, and there's some great resources here if you have access to a college campus library card, so that you're not only using the physical building, but also accessing what's available online to you. And then let me see what else I have here. These were accessible archives that you can search by. I'm not exactly sure why I picked this one. And then there was a sign-on error for this one. Then there's the Hathi Trust, which is amazing, and you can search it as well. Let's say I want to look up Manhattan. Did I spell that right? Yeah, I can spell in German and French, but not in English. Go figure. Okay, let's go see. Oh, so here's an album for Coney Island, New York. I can look over here again on all the different, so I have my subjects. I have who the authors are, the languages, they come in different languages, where they were published. I can narrow down my research by telling it that I only want to look during 1920 through 1929. And then I have the original location of where these items can be found. So if you have an interlibrary loan card or interlibrary loan feature with your library, and you want to track down one of these books or one of these things, you might be able to order them through WorldCat or through your interlibrary loan system, which is really awesome, and you can see what's available. So this is just one more resource that you have at your fingertips right from home to do your research. Now I can look up genealogy, maybe see what comes up. Takes a moment for it to search. Here we have Index to American Genealogies. I can see what's available. And there are some great resources here that you can search by, and you can search either full text or catalog, full view only. You also want to take advantage of your advanced full text searches and catalog searches. They're different. One searches only the catalog, the other one searches all texts. So you're going to get different results. And then finally, we have here the Wayback Machine, where you can, from the Internet Archive, to look up old articles. It's not really a library per se, but you can look up things that are no longer available. And then finally, we also have Google Books, where you can go online and look up books, and you could look up, say, the genealogy of George Washington. Well, that's not a good one. Let's do Abraham Lincoln. See what comes up. And then here we see Google Books that are available. And then if I want, I can click on one of these and see what comes up. And now I'm going to see on Google Books, who wrote it, where I can find it, and I can find more information. So this is just yet another resource for you. And now I'm going to turn over the time to questions. So I think we're done. Anna, are you there? Are you available to turn the time over to questions?
Yeah, we have a question. AY asks, sorry, my microphone was a little far away. AY asks, can you tell us more about the Allen County Library?
Yes. So one of the things you want to do is when you're in Family Search on books and you come down on the Family Search Digital Library, they just recently updated this during Roots Tech. Here where it says Digital Library Partners, if I click on that and I want to learn more about the Allen County Public Library, I can see a brief overview of what they offer. It's a great resource for Northeastern Indiana. And if I go click on it, now it's going to take me straight to the holdings or collections that are available from the Allen County Library. If I wanted to go to the Allen County Library, see what it does. Oh, there was a genealogy center, or I want digital. There we go, Allen County Public Library Digital. See what pulls up. Now I'm in there and I have a listing of all this information, but here I'm actually looking at the collection that's available, just the digital library collection. So you're going to want to look at all of these libraries individually, as well as the digital partners that are available. So you're going to get different results, and you want to use keywords and subjects and things to do your research. But here you can see, just what's available out of 126 collections that Allen County Public Library has offered digitally and online. And please do remember that not everything is online. We're just kind of touching the tip of the iceberg. And what's really cool is even though the pandemic has been very difficult and libraries have been hit hard because people have not wanted to go or they've been afraid to go, there's been a huge push, but that push actually started back in 2003 to make collections available and viewable online, and there will continue to be more interest and information uploaded. And another important thing to consider too is there are numerous archival databases that are continuously uploading information with bibliographies, maps, and family histories and stories and genealogies that you're going to want to look for and check on regularly, because there will be more information continuously uploaded and updated. So this is just one of those. That was a great question, and I'm glad you asked it, because it just shows you that this is just a slightly different way to look at what's available online. And each of these little squares is a tile that will take you straight to the page. So let's say we wanted to go to the International Harvester Collection. We can now browse it. And if you have a history there, you can see over here on the left-hand side what it includes, when it was created, and who donated it. And then you have all these great little tiles that show you different things, and you can click on them and see what's available. So any other questions? A. White, did that answer your question? I am looking at the chat box, so if you Have any questions, please ask. I'm happy to show you whatever you want to see if I know about it. Any other questions? Anna, are we seeing any other questions?
I am not.
All right.
Well, thank you so much. I'm going to share my, oh, wait, we have a Q&A. Oh, A. White said yes, that answered there.
Okay, wonderful.
So I'm going to share my screen over yours.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you, Annette, for coming in today and presenting with us. It was a wonderful webinar. And thank you everybody else for attending today. We hope you'll join us next week for our BYU Script Tutorials webinar with Amy Sauter. And a recording of this webinar will be made available next week. And you can do that on our YouTube channel or on our website. If you have any comments or questions, you can always email us at fhl_webinars@byu.edu or follow Facebook and Twitter. Thank you. Have a wonderful week.
Thank you. Bye, Anna.
Goodbye.
Bye, everyone.